to the Suspense Squad, where authors interview authors. Tonight, we are interviewing Caudill about her upcoming release, Counterfeit Hope. Yay! Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you guys for having me.
Why don't you show us a copy of your book and read the back cover blurb for us?
So here's a printout because I don't have my hard copies yet, but they're coming. Nice. And my shared screen, I had to pull it up on Amazon and it went away on me. Here we go. Trapped by their past is their hope for a future. When Secret Service operative Andrew Darlington is brought in to support a U.S. Marshal case involving counterfeiters in rural Indiana, he thinks it's simply the next rung on his climb to the top of his career. But liars can only climb so high, and Andrew is keeping a dangerous secret he doesn't ever want to get out. When he clashes with the criminal family that took over the town of Landcrest and killed the marshal he was sent to assist, his past life is in danger of being exposed. Widow Lightning Lou Thorne has only one goal: escape the clutches of the Thorne family with her son. Her decision to be an informant and testify against the Thornes looked like the perfect answer until the marshal ended up dead. Now the tether keeping her tied to the felonious felon. How do you say felonious? Right? Felony. The felony family. That word I cannot say. Is tightening, and a forced marriage to someone else in the Thornes' clutches threatens to kill any hope of escape. Andrew and Lou find themselves on the same team unwillingly. They each believe the other to be the enemy to their future plans, and even if they could learn to work together, the secrets they hold could shatter all hopes and dreams. Despite the encouragement of the local preacher, they're not even sure God can be trusted, much less other humans. Can either of them escape their past and the family that is willing to kill their own when they smell betrayal? So
nice. Good. This is an historical suspense, right? So that's the first time we've actually done an historical. So it's gonna
kind of a newer genre, and I'm excited about it.
So we're going to ask you a series of questions. The first one is going to be from Loretta. Loretta, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Sure. I was just wondering why and how you decided to become a writer. And then in your writing, in your books, do you use some of your own struggles in your stories?
So initially I started writing because that was my coping skill. I have a challenging family history, so that does make its way into my stories. I try not to bring like actual things, but I use the experiences and the emotions and all those challenges that kind of come with life and put them into the stories. But I didn't actually seek publication. God kind of dragged me into it, kicking and screaming. Sammy there too.
Sometimes.
I've always enjoyed learning, and I'm a former teacher, so I like going to classes and learning. And my husband sent me to a writing conference for my 30th birthday present. And God canceled all the writing craft classes so that all I could go to were publishing classes. Like quite literally, he forced me into this. And we fought for like 6 months before I said, fine, I'll start learning how to do this. And it was like 7 years like of obedience to God to follow that path, but I have submitted it to him, and this is where I'm at now. No longer kicking and screaming, but sometimes I feel like it.
That's awesome.
I love that it's 7 years because that's God's perfect number, right?
Yeah.
Love that.
Right.
It's like complete. It's time.
I had never put that together, but yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of too, Shannon, because that's, I always think of that. The Joshua and Jericho, he's supposed to go around 7 times. Well, that's great. And this is your second book, right? Or
it is.
Okay, Hope, you want to ask your question?
Sure. So Crystal, like I think Ginger said earlier, that this is the first time we've talked to someone who does historical suspense. So I would just like to know about your research. Like, how did you get started with researching the time period, and like what kind of interesting things do you find out when you start researching that? I love reading historical, but I can't write it because honestly, the research is very intimidating to me.
I'm a history nerd, so I find it very fascinating. So that helps. I actually have a subscription to a newspaper archive. So I will go back and read like newspapers from the 1880s and get story ideas that way. And actually, that's how I came across the ideas for the series. The Secret Service had a time period where their operatives, when they kind of got out of the service, started putting their experiences in newspaper articles, and they were collected together into a book of detective stories, and I fell in love with them. And so that led into learning about the Secret Service, because the Secret Service actually tracked down counterfeiters. That was their main job. And so one of my favorite facts is Abraham Lincoln gave the okay for the Secret Service to be created hours before he was assassinated. It was one of the things one of the last things he ever did. So I hate that he was assassinated, but it was so cool that that's kind of how it fell apart, or fell together, not apart. And it was actually not until 1902 that they started protecting the president. So you have this huge history of counterfeiting and land fraud. And
Dana, you want to ask your question next?
So first of all, we're kind of split between pantsers and plotters. And so I'm going to ask you, what is your writing process? Do you know your whole story before you sit down to write, or do you discover it as you go along?
So I'm currently working on a proposal to turn into my agent to shop. And it's the first time I'm having to write a synopsis before I've ever written the story. I'm a pantser. And actually, what works out is I try to plot, but I get to the 1/3 mark and my characters look at me, they laugh in my face maniacally, and they throw it out the window. So I try, and I'm turning in this proposal going, this is what I say it is, but it's not going to be it. Please accept it.
Never is. It never is.
Goes.
No, always changes.
Always.
I have written 20. I'm fixing to turn in my 20th book to LIS.
Yay.
Woo!
And my synopses are never. You could go back and look, and it's like, where'd this story come from? I have no idea where this story came from. So yeah,
That's good to know, because I'm really anxious about turning this in.
no.
My villains, I don't know who my villain is until I read at the end. And so I just throw out a name when I turn in my synopsis and think, maybe not, probably not.
I'm with Sammy on that.
Yeah,
My favorite one was when
Go ahead.
my favorite one was when my villain ended up being the hero for my next book. I just did not like.
That's too funny.
I was just finishing up my manuscript today because it's due today, so obviously I'm just finishing it. And I was like, I got to I'm at like 50,000 words, 45,000 words. And I'm like, oh, that's the way the story's going. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so OCD
totally
on
get you.
some things that turning in a synopsis that I know isn't going to be my story is killing me. We'll see.
Vague, make it vague. That's my advice. Vagueness. Okay, Darlene, you want to ask a question?
Sure. Congratulations, Crystal, on your upcoming book. So excited for you. So we want to know a little bit about you. So I've chosen 5 random facts for just some quick answers here. So the first one is ebook or paperback?
Paperback. I am totally a paperback girl.
Dogs or cats?
Neither. My dog has killed my love of pets right now.
Oh no. I'm guessing there's a story behind that one.
Yeah.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
Now, winter or summer?
That one's a hard one because summer's summer. I really like winter. I like the colder temperatures. You can always put more clothes on. So, and I like fires and fuzzy socks and
And hot
hoodies.
chocolate and
Mhm.
marshmallows.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
And the last one, coffee or tea?
Tea. I drink it by the 6-cup pot a day, like 2 of them. So 12 cups of tea a day.
Oh my goodness.
Lot.
Really big pot.
Love it.
Awesome. That's fun just to get to know you a little bit better. Cool.
Everybody run out and get Counterfeit Hope February 14th.